goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Champion Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 96 of the Huddersfield Town Social, part of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. The guys are gathered here this evening to dissect another weekly dose of town disappointment. The ground was packed, the atmosphere bouncing as ever, as everyone looked forward to a goal fest and a convincing home win against a team sat towards the foot of the league. The weather was wet, drab and depressing, just like the first half. Town finally woke up after 60 minutes, but a combination of poor finishing and heroics from Hartridge at the back meant another bitterly frustrating afternoon and a 0-0 draw. The Town fans left, dragging themselves from the ACU like drowned rats looking to drown their sorrows. And I went to lie by myself in a dark room questioning why do we subject ourselves to this misery week in, week out? Where did it go wrong on Saturday then? Is it the tactics, individual performances or both? Are we the early calls to get rid of Grant justified, or do we need to persevere for once and give them all time to gel? I'll be your host this evening, Nick Barlow, and joining me tonight is Mr. Bitter Cat Kicker himself, according to some Bradford fans. It's Mr. Gaz K, Gary Bowyer's doppelganger, Mr. Andy K, and the voice of calming reason, as always, Mr. Tristan Batley Kyle. Mr. Kilroy may join us later as well, if he can be bothered. But gents, how are we all doing? Are we all well?
Yeah. Good to go.
Good, thanks.
Excellent. I mean, apart from everything we're going to talk about, everyone's happy, aren't they? But so, Dean Ball, hello, mate. Good to see you again. Gary Bowyer, Dean's laughing. LORDD, hello, fellas. Hello to you, mate. Good to see you, as always. Join in the chat, guys. Get your questions in. We've got some on X that we'll discuss later, but let's get on to the game, guys. Oh, God. I mean, look, it's the first time I've got to home game for a little bit. The rain was lashing down on it. Absolutely awful. I'm stood there with my £8 portion of chips and pulled pork in the pouring rain with a pint. Miserable as sin. Finally make it into ground. I'm stood there thinking, what's the lineup? Then I hear the announcer going, Ruben Ruskin. And I'm just thinking, fuck me, this is going to be a depressing day, innit? It was already on the cards, and I think I messaged 10 minutes in. You can always tell with Town, can't you? First 10 minutes or so, you can see the way they play. You know it's going to be dog shit. And I think I messaged 10 minutes in thinking this is going to be one frustrating day. So, Gaz, mate, first half, what are your thoughts on it?
It was grim, wasn't it, Nick? It was grim. I think, like most people, I was hoping for a bit of a reaction from Bradford. Old Lee Grant was on telling us that we'd get one, but we didn't seem to get much, did we? The lineup was. I was encouraged by the lineup at least. At least it looked like he'd worked out what everybody else had worked out. Kane's helped himself by getting injured, so I mean, I don't know whether Kane would have played if he'd been fit, but he's dropped Kasumu in. Played Alves, brought May in, so I think it was pretty much what everybody was asking for, and Rowan at left back. So I think it was pretty much Ruskin at left back. So I think pretty much what people had asked for, and it was all right. The first 2 minutes was okay. Alves got on the ball a couple of times, it caused him a few problems, but that was pretty much it really. We upped and puffed. We created a couple of chances, didn't we? I don't think their keeper made a save first half, and then ironically, right on 17 minutes, the same minute we conceded our first goal at Bradford. Nichols had to pull out a super save. I don't know if you watched it back on the replay, but the bloke is hard low. It goes through somebody and it's near post. Great save by Nichols, really, to sort of keep us in the game. And then usual service was resumed, which is we sort of up and puff, get it forward, win a corner, and then we just put the corner straight into the goalkeeper's hands or such similar dross. But yeah, the first half was a tough watch. And a bit like the Peterborough game, really, I thought Burton grew into the game a little bit as it went on. I thought in the first half, I thought they got a bit of confidence by the fact that we just didn't seem to be able to break them down. They played same shape as Bradford and had a bit of joy where their wing backs, just like Bradford did. So yeah, it was pretty grim for start. I think I was happy to go and get a bovril when the staff was low. Although I have to say that the referee blowing up while somebody's down injured while the game's not going on was a particular highlight. Really, I don't really know how that works. And the other referees amongst us will tell me it's all fine, but I thought that was really odd.
Yeah, it was a bit. Well, I've not seen that before. Yeah, I'd forgot that, to be fair. I think I was just stunned by how bad we were in that first half. And, Stephen Shepherd, hello, mate. Evening to you. Good to see you. Ryan Windle, did they have any hot dogs left this week? I did see some, mate, but I wasn't going to touch them. So low, Mark Harrison says. Yeah, Andy, or should I say Gary, congratulations.
Please.
The only note I've got in that first half, and I know Burton had more than one chance, but that, as Gaz says, mate, that goal. I'm wearing this, by the way, this Northern football, because where is it, by the way?
Where is it? Yeah.
This Northern football that we've been promised, because that first half was dreadful. I've got to be honest. It was, I'm not going to say pathetic, but it's just slow, passive. And Burton's chance there comes from what I would class as typical League One / Northern football. It's a long ball, flicked on from Lofthouse, nice header. Shade runs onto it as a shot. Should have been 1-0. It was that simple. And we're prattling about passing it at the back for about 30 minutes.
We missed about 3 headers on that first chance, didn't we? That I've not done the Kilroy thing of analysing it inside and out because I'm Gary Bowyer. I don't need to do these things. I have people to do that for me. But if you actually watch the highlights back, there's Lowe misses a header, Feeney misses a header, and good old missed 3 tackles in the first half. Ruben Ruskin misses the first of his 3 tackles, and they just waltzed through us like we're not there. For me, it just felt like they were. I don't know, because the pitch was wet and they were scared of slipping over, but we just had to do this laboured thing of everything had to go through Lowe, everything had to touch him. It was like, you give kids a game to play at training and say, right, you've got to touch it 3 times before you can then score. It's like somebody had gone, right, you've got to pass the ball to Joe Lowe before any goal counts. It's like the ref had said to him, if Joe Lowe hasn't touched it in the move, then it won't count as a goal. And we did that second half, Feeney turning back in and what have you. I think my man of the match was the bloke who elbowed Ruskin in the face and got him subbed off, because Rowan that came on second half had a half-decent game. But Ruskin was as bad as he's been all season. And yeah, gone back to left back. Where was the lad who could fly forward and be well? I think both fullbacks were poor. Sorensen was poor as well. Again, that's the thing that needs to change for me. We need to get Gooch back, and we need to get Rowan. I think he did well when he came on second half. I know we're not talking about second half yet, but it was just ponderous, wasn't it? There was no energy. There was no, like Gaz said, no fight. You expected him to come out and really kick on and go, right, this is our home ground. We haven't lost there. We're going to set the pace, and we just didn't. And the thing that worried me through the entire game was really that first touch is absolutely bloody awful. Taylor, when he gets that shot away second half, he's controlled it about further than I used to be able to pass it, and he has to run on to get it and then try and pop it in top bins to get anything like a decent chance. May's the same. It may have a chance first half, and again, he has to take it out to the right before he can hit it back in again. It was just mind-numbingly dull. But you just worry whether they're being told to keep it tight, and then we'll do the bring the subs on and change it second half thing. But it is becoming a pattern. And I'm Team Lee Grant. I am one of the Grantlings, as was as he called his kids. So I would be Team Grantling for definite. But that we need just to take the shackles off and play like we're determined to get top 2. And I'm not sure they believe first half that we've got what we need to be able to do that. So for me, it's take the shackles off. Let them attack. Let them go. What happened? What's happened to this high pressing football that we saw early part in the season? It's gone. So I don't know whether he's made a tactical change, but the energy just seems to have been sapped out of the team. Whether that's down to the injuries or not, I don't know. But it was a bloody hard watch, wasn't it, for most of the entire game? But certainly first half were terrible.
I'll say it before and I'll say it again, mate. We still haven't replaced Mikel Miller. We still haven't got a suitable guy to fill in for when he inevitably goes injured. And as soon as he comes back, we'll be a completely different team, which is great, but he'll be here for another 4 or 5 games and he'll be out again, won't he? Mark Harrison says, so slow. Marshall, such a meh game. It would definitely meh Tristan that first half, mate, wasn't it? I was looking at some stats and expected goals for Town, 0.12. 63% possession, 0.12 XG. One shot, not on target, mate. Andy's right in it. It's becoming an habit, this. And the thing is, teams pick up on that, don't they? Town aren't going to come out first half, so why don't we have a go? And got to give some credit to Burton here, guys. I thought they came and they had a go, certainly for the first half an hour or so. I thought they were solid. And it's just a bit depressing, Tristan, isn't it? Watching that first half, especially after that Bradford performance, mate.
Yeah, I think I'll go right back to the start, Nick. I think you called it bang on. You know, it needs us to do something early doors, doesn't it? Teams are going to come to us, and I think I said it earlier on in the season. Teams are going to come to us. They're going to sit in behind the ball. They're going to pack all the areas that we want to play in. So kind of the midfield or down those flanks, they'll pack all these areas. And so, and I was thinking about this. It was kind of Ruskin and Sorensen crapping first half. I just don't think nobody got on the ball to be able to put the ball out to them. And the difference being in the second half, all of a sudden you've got someone like Wiles or Redmond. I thought Redmond really pepped us up a little bit, and I know we'll come on to it. But all of a sudden the gaps start appearing, and Ruan and both and Sorensen both then got chances in the second half to cross the ball and stuff, but we just don't do anything different, do we? And I think that's probably my criticism or my concern is that I don't for a minute. I'm not one of these people actually that thinks that we've got a style of play and we have to stick to it. But I think that they go out and they don't know how to react to the other team and how they're coming to play against us. So they go and they go out and they play and no one does any difference. Anything different. So I think first half we had something like 42 long balls, then second half we had like 37. So not that great a difference. But second half, all of a sudden we start running onto long balls. Someone actually runs into the channels. Taylor starts running into the channels. Wiles starts running into channels. Castledine starts running into channels. There seems to be whether it's I don't know whether they've been told to, as Andy said, keep tight or whether they're not breaking that mold. They believe that they can kind of beat teams with this kind of passing out from the back. But currently teams are just sitting there. They're literally sitting there. And I think with the press, the press is difficult when you play someone like Burton, isn't it? Because what are you going to do? Press them so that they hit ball long and put it over and in behind, and we get caught out with it, and because we're not quick at the back, are we? We're so slow at the back. And so I think probably there's a reason why we don't press against some of these teams, and we might see it, against teams that want to play with a bit of possession, but I don't think we'll see it against your Burtons and those types.
We've got to be good enough to break it down, though, Chris. We've packed the squad full of allegedly championship quality players, certainly on championship wages. I listened to Radio Leeds on the way back, and you'll have to forgive me. I haven't got a memory for. Unfortunately, my memory's not as good as yours, Nick. But they talked about the passes, and I think we had something like 560 passes. Only a third of those were forward. 2/3 were either sideways or backwards. And I don't know. Somebody said up there, Shep, sideways. Since Shep's been giving me stick about my teeth, I assume he's on holidays in his caravan in Filey. Is that where he's joining us from? And I think that's the problem. We had 560 odd passes, 70% possession, and only had 12 shots, only 5 of which were on target. I mean, that's every 8 minutes. It seconds 8 minutes to get a fucking shot away. It's not there's no attacking intent, is it? That's the problem, Tris. Especially in the first half. You're right. We're just happy. Keep the ball. We pass it around between ourselves. Get our stats up. Look great. But actually, we're not creating bugger all.
And this is the thing, guys. Second half we put people on the pitch that actually tried to do something different, tried to move into different spaces. All of a sudden we have like Ruan and Sorensen putting crosses into the box. The chance that Bojan had right at the end of the game was from a cross from Ledson. I don't think for a minute we saw Ledson go past, run beyond and into those spaces. But Wiles comes on and kind of manipulates those spaces. So I think it's trying to get those players on the pitch early enough, to be able to do that.
When he makes substress, it's all like for like. That chance Bojan has, 100% May scores that header. It's a horrible flicky thing, and the bloke does unbelievable to clear it off the line. But they shouldn't be getting a chance. That ball should go right back where it's come from, inside front post. Instead, it's a flicky header, and it gives the bloke a chance. So I'm getting really frustrated at the amount of ball and lack of threat that we seem to create with it, especially in the first half. In the first half of games, if we let a goal in first half of the game, you just know second half's going to be a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
It does seem to be a tactic just to keep it tight first half, tire teams, frustrate them, and then bring the kids on, let them run at them and score some goals. Well, that's great if it works, but that's not going to work every game. If we'd have scored against Burton early, then the game's pretty much over. Burton aren't great away from home, don't score a lot of goals. It'd force them to try and come out a bit more, opening more space for us. But it was just so passive. And you're right, Tris, when, Joe Lowe gets the ball, he doesn't make an attempt to run forward. The midfielders don't make any runs. Left back and right back don't make any runs. So it's all just static. And everyone's screaming, get pass it forward, and there's no options. So it's kind of sideways, backwards. There's no movement at all. It's very, very slow. They have to wait at least a second too long before they make a decision to lay the ball off. And it still happened more in the second half. But we'll go on to the second half because nothing really happened that first half, which was a problem.
Well, apart from Ruskin getting his face rearranged, I don't know whether that was deliberate or not because it's down at the other end. But I think that's ended up being in our favour because I don't know whether he'd have given him 15 minutes, to get back into but to take him off was the right thing because I think both Rowan and Wiles, their stock has gone up because of their performances in that second half, and I think Wiles did really well when he came on. God forbid that Kilroy's here to hear us all say that or me say that anyway. But like you said, we just got Taylor's up front and he's isolated, and he doesn't track back well enough for me. He'll make the run and get beyond, and then he'll turn around and he'll look like, why the fuck haven't you just passed it straight to my feet so I can miscontrol it 50 yards forward and then run after it? And then he's like, you can see him looking for, well, I might get back onside, I might not get back onside. And then when he just jogged back into position, because he's taking ages to get back into position, we then have to piss around with it at the back. So I think whoever's up front, May or Taylor, is just so isolated. So, and particularly, I saw something about playing 2 defensive pivots at home against the bottom of the league. I think there's a fair amount of credence to say, actually, should we be playing that formation? Should it be 4-1-4-1 or something like that, or 4-1-3-2 or something? But you can't have just one man playing a lone furrow up front and then not get back on side all the time. We've got to do something different because there's no threat.
I lost count on Saturday of the times that Ledson went and stood behind a Burton player. So the centre half got the ball, they're looking for somebody to pass to. Assume we're trying to show, so the bloke simply goes with him. And Ledson was hiding that. I was really disappointed with Ledson on Saturday. I thought he's not really delivered him spades or buckets yet for Town, but he's been tidy enough. And he's been there, but I thought on Saturday, I thought it was really poor. I thought he vanished, and you make a good point, Andy. These lot finished the day bottom of the league. So we've got Peterborough and Burton, both of them are pretty much bottom of the league. Play with confidence, and let's be honest, Peterborough could quite easily take the point as well. By the way, and we struggled. It's not like we struggled to break them down. We struggled to create anything for the best part of 70 minutes until eventually, as you said, we lobbed some subs on and they run out of legs a little bit. But up to that point, it was as comfortable as you like for them.
I don't know whether we switched anything tactically, but they seem to be very. Every time we got the ball in midfield, we seem to be crowded out by 2 or 3 Burton players. So I don't know whether he switched something in terms of. I don't know enough about football to say anything like that, but we seem to create a bit more space second half. I think we really missed.
We started to run under. We started to run beyond.
And we didn't do that.
Stretch the pitch and opened it up. They compacted. They were so compact, And actually, when Taylor ran the channels, and he did it really well in the second half, as much as he huffed and puffed and threw his hand in the air, he actually did it really well, and it all of a sudden just opened everything up. And you're right. But why are we having to take until second half for someone to actually do what's a really basic kind of skill? If you can't play the ball short, go long, and to try and go short from playing long.
That's why for me, he may play every week. Don't matter how many goals Taylor scores as a sub or in the cup. May has to play every week. He play in every other team in this league. He starts as their striker, apart from us, for some fucking bizarre reason.
Yeah.
Apart from Bradford, of course, because they've got that fella who I've never heard of. I hope there's some Bradford fans listening tonight.
Yeah, never, and probably won't again after this season. But I don't understand why, because Taylor, to me, he makes great runs down the channel, particularly on the right side. Why is he not on the right side? May Central, Alves left side, and Castledine, or Wiles in behind? I don't understand that, because to me, Taylor's a better player in that position, and he can run in behind and he can assist. But to me, May, we're just not utilising him at all. Any Birmingham fan will tell you that May in an attacking midfield position or a 10 is a waste of a position.
It's probably because he's the smartest player we've got in it, and the other part of it is, I can almost categorically say Taylor won't track. So they won't play him wide because he'll offer nothing for defensively, will he? And I think that's probably as straightforward as it is. He can trust May to, there were an interview with him this week ahead of the Man City game, and they're talking to him about criticism on social media, and the way he answers it compared to probably the way that 95% of the rest of the team would answer it is brilliant. He's level-headed, he's calm, he's fine with it, he's kind of accepting of it, and that's the way he plays football. Whereas Taylor's the polar opposite, isn't he? He's trying to wind folk up. He's throwing his hands up in the air when he don't get past. So he's just erratic, isn't he? And I just don't think you get that consistency with him playing down the channels.
But the problem is, Tris, if he wants to get in team, he'll have to learn to track back, because Alfie May is League One top goal scorer in that position, 3 years running, 3 seasons running. But for some reason, we think we can now. It's all right. We'll play him here instead and not utilise him. There's not one other club in the league that would play him in that position, that play him central as a striker, because that's what he does. He scores goals. To me, Taylor either on the bench to come on when teams are tiring and running behind, which he has done effectively, or he plays on that right side where he can run in behind. I mean, in a game like Burton, you didn't really need to track back much, because certainly in the second half, because Burton never came out of their own half for pretty much all that half. I just I just don't think we're utilising Alfie May. I think it's a waste, and I think we're going to regret that if we don't change it soon. Marshall commented that he's showing a bit of support for Ruskin. I mean, I don't want to seem like we're picking on him. I don't particularly agree. I haven't seen anything from Ruskin to suggest that he's going to be that flying winger a la Miller that can just go past a player, cut into the box and lay it off. I've not seen that at all. I'm not saying he hasn't potential to be a decent player, but he just hasn't been effective for us so far this season. His best game was probably when he scored it first game of the season, but he's not really kicked on or done anything since. And I just think when you've got bright young prospects like Alves who can come on and play in that position, to me, he's got to start. I don't know what you guys think. Are we being a bit mean? I mean, he signed a new contract, hasn't he? So we're going to be with him. He's going to be with us for a while, isn't he?
I struggled watching Els on Saturday. I thought he was crap. He ran around in circles. I think Shep put it on. His head down. He ran around in circles. He went backwards and forwards, and never beat the man. And you know, at least when we've seen Ruskin, he tries to beat a player. You know, sometimes he will beat a player and then stop. You know, but at least he tries to beat a player. He didn't even seem to try and beat the player else. So you know, whilst yeah, Ruskin hadn't been the best, I equally don't think Alves was the best either.
Sorry, Andy, go on, mate.
That's all right. Well, just Alves is definitely the kid that when he was playing under-10s football, got the ball in minute 1 and held on to it for the full 60 minutes and passed to nobody and scored 15 goals. It's definitely what he did, because that's what he did on Saturday. He just, I mean, to be fair to him, he's trying to turn the defender, so he's trying to come back inside and then drive away. And whoever was marking him did a really good job on him, because I don't think he ever got past him. But yeah, that was really frustrating. A number of times he tried to swivel and turn it and then go away and drive it forward, which is probably what he'd been told to do, but just couldn't get past the Burton player. Just really, really frustrating.
He just steered him inside all afternoon, that lad.
Yeah.
Just steered him inside. He got really tight, so he went backwards. Steered him inside. And every time he went inside, of course, he's hitting 3 centre midfielders. So he got absolutely nowhere to go.
I think that's, in fairness, guys, I think that's spot on, because I also thought that the lad, number 6, was he called something like Civic or something like that? I thought he marshalled Taylor fantastically.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I thought he was brilliant. He just followed him stride for stride, and then said, "Okay, now you've got a choice to make, Taylor. What are you going to do?" Knowing that he'd pick wrong choice, you know. And I completely agree. I thought actually individually they defended really well.
Do you think there's a bit of arrogance on our part? Do you think we just think we can turn up, especially at home, and turn these teams over? Because, you know, Burton are a very well-drilled side. They're going to come here, they're going to set up, defend for their lives for all the entire 90 minutes. I think we came out there thinking, well, we'll just be able to pass around them the note of these. We'll get a goal, keep it tight, and then we'll blow them away second half. And Burton took one look at us and thought, do you know what? We'll have a go here in that first half. Should have been a goal up. At least could have been 2 goals up. And then they just sat back and said, right, we've had a go, but let's sit back now and defend. And to be fair to them, I thought they did a brilliant job. And we just didn't have an answer. We'll get on to that chance in the second half in a sec. But do you think there is a bit of arrogance on our part that we're going in a bit blasé, thinking we can just turn these teams over, when actually we need to work a little bit harder and have a bit more respect for them?
I'm not sure.
Go on, Chris.
Go on. Go on.
I was just going to say, I don't know if arrogance is the right word. I think there's possibly some overconfidence, certainly from Grant and the ability of the players that he's got in his squad. And also the away managers are not daft. You know, Gary Boyer has been around the block, hasn't you, Andy? You know, he's been around the block. So, he would have said to him, keep this tight, 15, 20 minutes. They're going to start grumbling. I'm telling you, they're going to start grumbling. And once they start grumbling, it's a big crowd, it's a big ground. Their players will start hiding, and that's what happened in the second half. There was an instance where we broke, we got the ball out wide, fucked about with it, gave it to Sorensen, who panicked and then passed it backwards. And I mean, it wasn't quite a shouty boo, but it wasn't far enough. But he got some real stick from the crowd. So I don't know if it's arrogance or overconfidence, Nick. But we're going to come on to Grant in a bit. But I'm becoming more and more convinced his game plan is as you say, which is let's just play some tidy football, keep it moving, and then don't worry, because if it's 0-0 on 70 minutes, we'll bang 2 or 3 people on. Because our bench is as good as anybody else's starting 11, pretty much, isn't it? We wang 2 or 3 on, and we'll have enough to win every game. So, but yeah, the managers are not daft, are they? They've seen us play, they know what we do. That's why Arnes got marked out of the game in Bradford, because they'll watch 6 or 8 tapes of him doing exactly the same thing for 90 minutes. And been the same, with Owls, although he's not played for us before, they'll know what he was, they'll know what he does, and they'll be ready for it. But I think he's got to find a way, Grant, that is, to get the teams to start quicker. Because if he gets us onside and the crowd starts going, then we'll blow away pretty much every team, won't we? But yeah, I'm not sure they believe the hype at the minute, Nick House. I think there's a bit of that. I think they're starting to worry whether this is working, looking at 1 or 2 of the performances.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think there's a massive I don't think there's a massive cockiness, or I think some of it is actually, is there enough players on the pitch that are capable of grabbing a game by the scruff of the neck and working out how to break down a team. If you look, and probably by that I mean, people that want the ball. Quite to your point, Gaz, I didn't notice it, but if someone like Ledson is hiding, in the game, all of a sudden we start looking like a team that's going to have chances. When Wiles came on the pitch, Harness came on the pitch, Redmond came on the pitch, and all 3 of them just wanted the ball. They were looking for the ball, they were showing for the ball, they were moving, they were passing, they were shifting it, and all of a sudden it did open things up, and I just wonder whether we're just not getting the right mix of players on the pitch all at once, and I know that there's been kind of murmurings of trying to chop and change it, and there seems to be favourites and stuff like that. I think probably some of that is a bit of both of that. That he's trying to. He knows that someone like Kane can have an important impact on a game, and he's always willing to try and get on the ball, and he's trying to get him into the team even when he's not kind of necessarily having a big impact. But he knows that he can rely on him, and I think. If you look at the weekend, I don't necessarily agree with some of the comments that we didn't need 2 holding midfielders. I don't see him as holding midfielders. If you look at probably the first 3 chances we had, Kasumu in the first half broke through and put a ball across goal, went into the keeper's hands. Yeah. Second half chance, Kasumu broke through. And dropped it to the edge of the box. Can't think who had it was when Castledine had the shot that he hit wide. So actually, and then one of the chances at the end is Ledson. So it's not that I don't think it's not necessarily about having 2 holding midfielders. It's trying to get the individuals on the pitch to create that space and and move the ball around, and I'm not certain that we're getting that mix right at this minute in time.
It's frustrating, isn't it, Tris? Because you're right, they did come forward, but they just didn't in the first half, and I don't get it. Steve Brailsford, hi mate, good to see you again. Just don't get the first halves, says Steve, and I agree, because when we do play actually start playing football, passing it around quick and getting in, that first chance there, I think it's Owls on the left and Kasumu gets involved, as you say, Tris, and then it comes across. Eventually it finds its way to Castledine, which is a poor finish, by the way. Should be doing better with that. But that's a really good passage of football there, of attacking football. And you just think, do you know what? If you could just do that more and start the games like that, in the face of the opposition, creating, the crowd would be right behind them, but it's just so slow, and it's every 30 minutes, those kind of moves. It should be every 5-10 minutes.
And funnily enough, Nick, we seem to get a lot of joy out of getting to the byline within the box, and dropping a ball to the the kind of penalty spot edge of the area. We seem to have got a load of because we're not a big tall team, so we have to put it in on the floor. We seem to have a load of joy from that, and though we didn't score it, I think there was probably 3 or 4 chances created like that at the weekend, and it's interesting. I think, wasn't there a stat, Gez, you mentioned about listening to Radio Leeds on Saturday, wasn't there a stat that Glennon said that something like first half of the game were 23rd in the league and second half of the game were first in the league or something like that?
Yeah.
It was somebody in the Yorkshire Post did it, didn't it? It was the Yorkshire Post, one of the Yorkshire Post.
Leo Wobschall did it.
Was it Wobschall?
Yeah.
Proof's in the pudding there, isn't it?
Yeah. We get another chance as well from Rowan. Again, Taylor, really good work down the right. And the ball gets cut back to Rowan. He shoots and it's blocked off the line. It's a good block. I mean, in fairness to Rowan, it's a good strike, decent power on it. It's a bit unlucky, that one. But then we come to the bigger chances towards the end. And I mean,
just to jump in on that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I'm a bit grumpy about that because that ball should never have got to Rowan. If you look at the cutback, because Tris talked about it hitting the penalty spot, that ball rolls across the penalty spot and there's nobody within 5 yards. And the 2 midfielders that probably should have been on the penalty spot had bombed further on. So it should never have got to him. You shouldn't have having your left back to finish that chance off. It should be one of your 3 attacking midfielders and they'd all gone too far forward. So there's just sloppiness that's in part of the play, like the first touch at the Castledine, as he talked about, if he takes that first time and just passes it back where it came from, he scores. Just, I don't know whether they're just switching off at times and not doing what the roles are, but those 2 things infuriated me when I watched them back on the highlights. Sorry, Nick.
No, that's why you're manager, Gary, because you see these things, mate. We're just plebs us for it. It's you've got the knowledge.
My team
mate.
saw it for me, not me. It wasn't me. My team saw it for me.
In fairness, Andy, I get completely your point that it shouldn't roll to Rowan. But given the way that rest of them finished ball, I'm glad it fell to Rowan.
Just as well. Yeah.
Because in fairness to him, he controlled it. His shot so well, didn't he? That's usually ending up in the upper tier of that stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was a decent strike, to be fair to him.
I think Taylor also has a chance done it a bit earlier, which I've forgotten about, that keeper said. I think that's the first time
that's
he got
his first touch. That was a great ball from Feeney. It wasn't a hoof, but he's peeled off the defender, the Sybil, I can't remember the lad's name, but he did a real good job on him. He's just peeled off him and beat him for pace. But his first touch, he's got to run another 15 yards to actually get a touch on the ball. And he's taken it from being almost directly in front of the right-hand post to being this far wide. How? Yeah. You're a £3 million striker and you can't control the ball in that situation without it going 20 yards further away. I hope they're just absolutely rinsing the life out of his first touch in training, because it's got it, and that's a consistent theme. He's doing it all the time. So if there's anything that he needs to develop to add to his game, it needs to be that first touch from a through ball, because it's dreadful at the minute.
I found it really useful, Andy, because I got my 6-year-old to watch it and told him that's not what to do if you want to throw a goal.
Yeah, but first time keeper made a save, and what were that, 60 minutes? Something like that. It's absolutely criminal, isn't it? Again, and I don't want to sound disrespectful to Burton either, because as I said, I thought they were really organised outfit. But if you're playing a team near at bottom at league and you're at home and you're expected to get promoted, top 4, you've got to be creating more than that. You've got to be. And then we come on towards the end of the game. Joe Lowe's header. I mean, oh God. Someone must have taught Joe Lowe to head it downwards. For a big guy, his headers are awful. What you do in that situation, what you do is you get it and you go bang, and you put your head through it and you send the ball and the keeper back at net, through the net and into fucking raw fault. You don't go, try and head the ball down and give the keeper a chance of a save. He should have it's a good save, but he should have absolutely no chance from an header in that position. And for a big guy, Joe Lowe, his headers are put. I mean, the one he scored came off his shoulder, first game at season. And I don't know who's told him to constantly head the ball down, but don't. Get your head behind it and just power it straight through. And the keeper's got no chance. And that should have been 1-0. That was a huge moment. And if we win 1-0, we're still moaning because of that first half. But at the end of the day, it's 3 points, isn't it? But I thought that were criminal from Joe Lowe. He should be burying that.
Well, according to our resident expert, who's not here, apparently they're really poor on corners anyway. Really poor at defending corners. Well, we didn't make it look like that, did we? I think that was the first time really we caused them any problems at a corner. I don't know, Joe Lowe somehow got free, didn't he? I mean, he was completely unmarked. It wasn't like a challenge.
Gone to the front post,
Marked, right in the middle of the goal, 3 yards out. I mean, how he didn't score. I mean, in fairness to the keeper, it's actually a good save because it's bounced down and up and he gets it up and away. But he shouldn't be getting a chance, should he? As you say, Nick, that should have been absolutely. I mean, he had time to bring it down, make a cup of tea, and smash it in back at net. How was he headed it down and over? I still don't know. But yeah, considering they're, according to Mr. Kilroy, terrible at corners, it's pretty much the only time all afternoon from our 50. We had 15 corners, by the way. Pretty much the only time all afternoon we caused them a problem.
And that's a theme.
You've got to remember that you only score from winning 25 corners, and we're trying to keep that stat high. The corner isn't as an exciting an attacking option. Winning 250, you get a note on the end of it. Yeah, we used to be absolutely amazing. You remember back in the day when we had Matty Pearson and Tom Lees and people like that flying in and smashing it in? We'd score from set pieces left, right, and centre. And now I'm frustrated with Joe Lowe because he, obviously, as you know, he's my lad. So I may or may not, even though I am involved in football as Gary Bowyer, I may or may not put a bet on him to score. And the only time I've not put a bet on was when he scored. And I'm trying to put the bet on him as he's going, boom. And he was 17-1 to score that. Oh. And I was trying to get some money on that. And I'm not. So I'm really happy, but really sad. And I've managed to remember to do it every time since, or somebody may have done for me because I'm involved in football. Clearly, it's Gary Bowyer. I've cursed him, so I'm going to stop putting any money on him at all, and he'll score left, right, and centre. Because it's my fault because I keep backing him to score first goal, and he does he now?
I'm backing him at weekend.
Yeah, I genuinely will. I will not back him at Exeter. I will not back him at Exeter, and the lad'll bag a hat trick. So. Yeah, that'll be down to my gambling tendencies.
Best of a different day were from bloody Burton player nearly into his own top corner that they just managed to clear.
Yeah.
On it. I'd have felt a bit sorry for him if that had gone in, to be fair, for about 5 seconds. But yeah, it was quite funny that. And then good old Bojan, right at the death. I don't think it's as bad a header, Gaz. I know what you're saying. He should just put it down into near post, but he still gets it towards goal. In fairness, he doesn't do his usual miss it entirely. He gets connection on it. It's going in, and it is a good block. I think from Hartridge on the line. It's a great block. Cannons off the keeper and away. I mean, it's just bad luck. I think partly for us that because 99 times out of 100, I think it's in back at net, but. I don't think we deserve to win the game. I think we left it far too late to impose ourselves, and that's what you get when you just leave it until the 60th minute to start coming forward and creating something. And I think if we had won, it would have papered over the cracks to some extent, to be honest. And it might be a bit of a wake-up call that we need, but frustration, I think, is the word of the day.
Yeah, you're right. It would have papered over some cracks, but we'd have all taken it, wouldn't we? After Bradford,
oh yeah,
we'd have taken it. We'd have hard fought. Or we'd have been using different words, wouldn't we? If we'd have won 1-0. But I'm not having it. That header from Bojan shite. You watch back of the replay. He does that hairy fair. He never heads it cleanly. The bloke ever. And if that's me, I'm telling you, that's it back at net. It goes back where it came from, and it's 1-0. But well, you know my view on him. I don't even know. After all this money we've spent. On earth is that guy anywhere near our squad on a match day? I haven't got a clue. But yeah, I thought since I'll get accused of being unmagnanimous when it comes to opposition teams these days. I thought Burton would value for a point. I thought they earned it. I thought they worked really hard, and I thought a point was probably about the right result in the end. for both teams. But when you've got genuine ambitions of finishing in the top 2, a point at home against bottom of the league's not enough. We should be putting these people to bed. I don't want to go all arrogant, but we should be putting them to bed. Should be 3 and 4-0.
We can't expect to beat everyone, Gaz. You know how it is, mate.
You're deluded if you think we're going to win every game.
Yeah, thanks, Tom Lees.
Whoever's teaching,
I changed my name again.
whoever's coaching headers, don't. Because again, we had another one at one point, and I can't remember. It was sometime the second half, and I don't know if it was Bojan or Lowe, but it came in again. One player misses it, and then another one tries to steady it down, but he completely missed the ball. Like some fucking string puppet, like flopping in his head and just completely. I don't know who's teaching them to do this, to head it down, because just get your head behind it. But whoever's doing it, whoever's coaching them the headers, don't. Just let them get on and do what they want to do, because it ain't working. But you look at this, I've compared the stats between both halves, and again, it correlates to what you were saying about the contrast between first and second half, that we had much more possession. We had 76% possession in that second half, and XG 1.24, 11 shots. So way better. A lot more accurate passing, 86% pass accuracy, 317 passes. I mean, most of them were in his own half, of course, but at least, you know, we had much more control in that second half, and it's all the more frustrating because I just don't get it. Is it just the fact that we've got decent players and actually the opposition just tire in the second half, and we keep doing the same thing, but actually the opposition are tiring and therefore switching off slightly, and we're managing to get in behind a bit more. I mean, we started playing it wide playing the ball over the top to Alves, who were getting joy running in behind, and then we stopped doing it. You know, Redmond came on, Zepkino Redmond came on, and he tried to make, I must have counted 3 or 4 runs off the shoulder of a defender in that second half.
Ignored.
Rowan didn't pass once, didn't pick him out once, and eventually, if you've got a young player making runs and they never get found, they'll stop. Eventually, they'll stop making those runs, and that's exactly what happened. Now, is that a confidence thing? Is it an ability thing? You know, there wasn't easy balls, but the ball was on. He was making those intelligent runs, and he just wasn't. He wasn't even interested in finding him. Why?
I know. They were good runs. He sort of started on the outside, came round the front of the fullback and in behind the centre half, because the guy in the middle was playing him on, and you know, they turned it down through. But I thought Redmond actually, when he got into the game a bit, he stretched him as well. He went both ways. He went inside and outside, so he actually gave the right back, the right wing back, something to think about for the first time in the game, because it was so easy before with Alves. He was always going inside. Redmond went outside, and he put a couple of decent balls into the box. Did Redmond? He caused him a bit of problem. But yeah, Wales made a difference when he came on as well, as you said, Andy. I thought he actually, again, influenced the game in a really positive way. He actually it felt like he had some urgency about him. It felt like it took 80 minutes for a bloke to have some urgency, and that seemed to be infectious on the rest of the team. His urgency seemed to spread really quickly. So I guess Wales will be back in on Saturday after that performance.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know, and I wouldn't advocate him in this position necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts alongside Ledson or Kasuma, because there were points in that game as well where he dropped in deep and went and got the ball and passed it and shifted it about, you know, and somewhere like Exeter, where probably not the biggest pitch in the world, you know, you're going to need someone who actually can play a ball and, you know, can find the gaps and is willing to play it between the lines.
Yeah, possibly, Tris, possibly. Ryan Letson, I've been disappointed. I know Gaz touched on it before. It went hiding a little bit. I've been disappointed all season with him so far. He came with all this hype, championship experience, captain. And to me, barring a few patches, and I thought he did come on better in the last 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes on Saturday. But by and by, he's been a disappointment for me. He's just not done enough. I know he can do a lot more than what he's showing. Should we take him out maybe for a short spell? Or do you think it's a case of we need to just persevere for him and he'll come better as the season goes on?
Is he another one that's had an injury before he came to us?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I don't know.
He looks like a player that, to me, who doesn't look like he played a lot of football.
What do you guys think in the comments? Do we leave him out? Do we give him a bit of time off and bring maybe Wiles in or somebody? I mean, the problem is like we're losing midfielders left, right, and centre. McGuane isn't ready to come back. I'd like to see him when fit. Maybe he'll make a bit of a difference.
Where the hell is McGuane? But
injured, isn't it? Injured.
About him. I don't know, but he doesn't even talk about him.
No,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weird. But we're running out of options. I mean, we've got some of the youngsters could come in, but it looks like Irby's going to be out for a while now. So, you know, maybe you're right, Andy. Maybe Wiles comes into that. He's still our most effective creative midfielder, stats-wise, that we've got. So, to me, we've got to play him.
Has he got a switch ball in him? Because that's what Kane does really well. I sort of, in my head, he's sort of like a quarterback. He'll drop back off the pack and he'll ping it right usually. So they'll have an out ball, and we didn't have that on Saturday, and I think that was part of the problem. When we started playing longer ball second half, we looked a bit better. So I just wonder whether Wiles has got that aim in it. I don't recall him being a long passing type of player, but if he comes in, do we have to change that style? But I thought we really missed Irby Kane. I didn't think he had a great game against Bradford at all, but then I don't think anybody did. But that ability to turn and switch it is something that opens teams up and stretches it, like not just was saying that stretches the pitch, and we did that a bit more second half. But yeah, if he can do that, then bring him in. If not, Ledson, where's the guy that is wumping players up hill and down Dale? How many times can you think he's absolutely nailed anybody in a tackle? And that's what we were told we were going to get. So that to me says I don't think he's 100% fit anywhere near. I was watching him for a bit second half, and he just went quiet until the last 15. Maybe he was conserving a bit of energy because he did up his game a little bit to what the last 10 or so. So credit to him for that. But he's not the player that I thought he was. And he's not doing. There were a couple of times on Saturday when you watched him, he was giving it this to crowd to get a bit of joy. But the leader that we thought we got right at the start of the season, I don't know where he's gone, because the fellow that was giving it big licks in front of the away end at Reading, I don't know where he is. But that's the version of him that I want to see. So he's definitely got it in him. And I think somebody needs to step forward and grab this team by the scruff of the neck and say, right, I'm going to drive this team forward and I'm going to start to make stuff happen. I'm wondering whether one or two of them looking around and going, well, I hope he does it, because I'm not sure I can do it today. So we just need a bit of leadership, and because we didn't look like we got much of that on Saturday. So let's see what happens on tomorrow night.
I think Gooch brings that as well, Andy.
I think you do. You're right.
I genuinely think the best signing we made this season was Gooch, and the biggest miss we've had in the last few weeks is Gooch.
Yeah,
I think he's superb, and unfortunately, I think we probably didn't realise how much we did miss him, and we have. The other lad that we've not really talked about much is Castledine. I think he, for me, is fantastic in finding space, getting hold of the ball, and then there's just not much from there at the minute. And I don't know whether that's kind of a bit young and not quite kind of knowing what to do or picking the right moves or whatever, but he seems to kind of struggle a little bit from that point. He seems to need quite a bit of space to operate in. And I think possibly when he's played out wide, we don't get the best out of him either. So I think certainly Grant has got a bit to do in terms of finding the right spots for the right people, and trying to kind of pick out where these players best operate and kind of put that team out, because at this minute in time where there has been criticism of him chopping and changing and stuff, but I don't think we're necessarily putting people in the right positions to get the best out of them.
No, it's a challenge, isn't it? We've almost got too many options.
Yeah.
Whereas other teams like your Bradfords, They know what their best 11 is. All right, they're going to be in trouble when they get injuries. But if they don't, they know everyone knows exactly what they're doing, where they're playing, what the system is. They're so well drilled. This is what you need. We don't have that yet. We don't have that cohesion. Nobody really knows. It's chopping and changing all the time. And I don't think Lee Grant knows what his best team is yet, which is a concern when we're 9 games into the season. There are a lot of boos that are, well, I'll say a lot. There are a few boos. Certainly around me, there were quite a lot of boos at full-time, guys. Now, are we overreacting a little bit there? It's very, very disappointing and very frustrating, I will say. And the weather's miserable. We're all pissed off. None of us really want to be there in the conditions. We all can't wait to get home. And we're expecting to beat a side near the bottom if we're going to go up. But this is still very early days in the grand scheme of things. Are we too quick to get on the team's back? Do we need to just stand back a little bit as a fan base and think, actually, look, let's just give this a little bit more time? It's still early. We've got plenty of time. Or do you think the boos are justified? Gaz?
Nah.
No, I'm not a booer. So, I've always said you pay your money, you take your choice. If people feel entitled to boo after watching, let's be fair, it was shite, then that's their choice. I would never criticise anyone for it. We are only 9 games in, but I think, we've been the last couple of seasons, people have been told, don't worry, it's going to be better. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Don't worry, it's going to be. And here we are now, we're now the 3rd team out of 3 in West Yorkshire. That didn't feel like that was going to happen when Kev took over, did it? Yet here we are. I don't think Grant helps himself with the constant chopping and changing. I mean, we can debate whether that's the old principles thing. I'm going to run it like I'm fucking Pep Guardiola. Whether that's he's not strong enough to be able to have confidence in saying to his team that this is my chosen 11. Unless they let me down, you're not getting a shirt. He constantly talks about everybody going to be needed, which is just the same scenario, by the way. If you pick a settled 11 in a season as long and arduous as League One is, you're going to need everybody at every point. I do worry. I think that he's under pressure. He was under pressure from day one, and Kev's under pressure. Kev's put his hand in his pocket yet again, put his money where his mouth is yet again. But the decision to go with a rookie manager was nobody else's. It was Kevin's. So this has to work for both of them. It's 9 games. It's ridiculous that we're talking about getting rid of the bloke. But he has to, as we said last week, he has to start showing signs that he's developing something. And people will go, well, I'd rather play well and lose. Well, you're fucking lying. You wouldn't. If we'd have played shit on Saturday and won 3-0, we'd be all high-fiving, wouldn't we? But we didn't. So, yeah, I've just been looking at the form table while you were talking, Nick. We're going to Exeter. We're 18th in the away form table. It's just not good enough. With the players he's got, the squad he's got, the money that's been spent, even with the injuries that he's carrying, that isn't good enough. And he has to start performing because Kev is not going to wear it. The one thing we do know about Kev is he'll pull the trigger if he needs to, won't he? And, people are saying, and it's hard to disagree, this is no better than when Michael Duff were in charge. Different formation, same dross. And it's really hard to start to argue that point. So, I hope he doesn't get sacked, because actually, although it's
madness.
Madness
to sack him. Yeah. Madness.
Well, it is.
Madness.
We've seen madder things at Huddersfield Town, Andy, let's be honest, haven't we?
Well, if I tell you that we're 10 places higher in the table after 9 games than we were last season, and we got more points than we had after 9 games last season. So there's that. I mean, that's not really what we're talking about, are we? But he has started better than Duff did.
The league's loads weaker than it was last year. A shitload weaker. We've strengthened, and the league's got weaker. So, we can go around and say, but I mean, it's ridiculous. He ain't going to get sacked after 9 games. I hope. No. We've got to give the lad a chance, but he has to start demonstrating that he's developing and learning. Keep talking about learning. Well, let's see some of that on a match day. Sorry, that's all right. I'll ramble it. Sorry, Nick.
No, it's all right, mate. It's all right. I'm just thinking because you're right. It is 9 games. We can't just keep sacking managers. And
No.
you look at some of the, Grant's come from Ipswich. Kieran McKenna, under their first season, they finished 11th, but they stuck with him. He had time to get his ideas across, to build his squad accordingly. Then they went up the season after. Bradford fans were calling Alexander out in his first season. I don't think he's right we're not playing well, and they've stuck with him because he's an experienced manager with promotion history, and they're not questioning it now, have they? So I think there's a lot of anger, really. There's a lot of misery amongst Town fans at the moment. We're used to seeing dross for the last 6 years, pretty much. I mean, you're gonna be jumping, and you're right, guys. It seems to be following a similar pattern to last season. That it started well, we got found out, and now it's starting to taper off, results and performance-wise, and it is a bit of a concern. But equally, you're right. Kev's decision to go with a rookie manager, and that comes with its own issues, and you've therefore got to give him the time to be able to work with the team, to get it gelling, to get his ideas across, to work with the coaches. And it might well take a season. It could be a transition season where we finish 7th. But if we stick with him and go again, I think that's still a better way to go. You don't breed success by just changing managers left, right, and centre. There's not one football club that's achieved success in sacking managers every season. At some point, we're going to have to stick with the guy and keep backing him for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons and see where it takes us. Otherwise, we'll be in League One for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Or worse.
It's the rookie manager thing. You've got to accept that there will be variances of performance, particularly at the start of his reign. There will be things that he gets right, things that he gets wrong. I think there's a message come up on Twitter to us about it's not just Grant. He's got 3 people around him: his attack coach, his defence coach, and his goalkeeping coach, who he has stated are better than him at the things that he wants them to do. So there's a little bit of responsibility needs to be laid at the feet of the other 3 lads in the team there. And you wonder what's actually going on with them. How much support are they able to give? And they're all experienced, or pretty much experienced. They've come from good jobs to come and work with us. How are they dealing with it as a team? And it's something I whittled on about last year, in that when in adversity, how do we deal with stuff? And the signs are at the minute that I think we're mentality wise, we're better than we were last year. We couldn't be much worse, to be honest. But how are we dealing with it? How does it take us 60 minutes to get into a situation where we change what we're doing? And that's where the experienced heads on the pitch and off the pitch should be going, hang on, we need to change this. We need to be able to look around and change what we're doing differently. So I'd expect his lieutenants to come forward and go, right, okay, now we're going to step in and make some changes here, because he's a rookie manager, so he needs some support from the touchline as well as from up in the boardroom. And is he getting that? I don't know. Have they gelled as a unit? I've no idea. I would hope so, but some of the blame's got to lie on the shoulders of these 3 better than me at that stuff coaches as well. It's not just Grant, and obviously I speak as Team Grant. I think there's other people that need to be held to account here as well. It's not just Lee Grant. Yeah, he's the figurehead, but it's not just down to him.
On the face of it, Nick, we've won 5 out of 9 games and we've drawn 1. Like, just on the face of it, in that sense, talking of sacking the manager is absolutely ludicrous. I think probably the bit that is worrying people is probably them 3 away games, in it, where we just seem to have capitulated, and that's what seems to scare people. Is we've been here, we've seen this for the last few years, and so there isn't any kind of reason thinking. It's reverting to type. It's learnt behaviour, isn't it? And it's panicking about the kind of performance that goes out there. Now, quite to the point, and I think I said it on the group. If we'd have gone out and thrashed Burton, would it have been HMS Piss the league, as people seem to like to jump on the bandwagon of? you know, and this is where I think there's no rational kind of thinking with it. It's just, it's like it's big peaks and really low troughs in it, you know, and there's no kind of middle ground with it. And I get football isn't like that, and certainly in these days played out on social media. You know, it's not in the days of ringing Team Talk to find out the news and stuff like that. You know, so it you do get this kind of real kind of polarized opinion, and I think it's then within the squad and within the team and the club to try and kind of piece their way through that bit. You know, as I mentioned earlier on, Alfie May talking about the kind of social media side of things. I think it's because he got a lot of criticism for posting on social media. Well done to Lyndon Dykes for scoring.
Yeah,
You know,
his
teammate at Birmingham congratulating him, and you know, and they've given him a load of slaver. And I think there was someone else, and I can't think for the life in me who it was. Someone had scored for Leeds, I think, and had put matching on together.
Yeah.
Ledson,
Ledson liked to post with those words in it. Yeah.
and he said well done to his mate, and again he gets kind of vilified for it. You know, this is the age that we're in, and I think sometimes people like the club and particularly now the club will have to manage their way through that with the players, you know. But when it comes to match day, and I think you said it, Gaz, you know, you can hear audibly within the stadium, like when the ball went back. I think you said it was from Sorensen, wasn't it? You know, when the ball went back, oh, you know, that honestly, can you imagine sitting at your desk doing your work and you make a mistake and you get, oh, you know, you won't be able to function, but they have to deal with that. They have to deal with that.
Did you hear the Olays? The Olays from the South Stand?
Yeah.
I don't know how audible that was in the rest of the stadium, but that was interesting.
About 20 minutes into the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just going backwards and forwards and backwards, which,
you
know, that's a worry for me.
Yeah.
It is still a minority, and on social media, I think the problem is like it's 1%, 2% of the fan base, but they're the most vocal and extreme. And I think, you know, I've seen in certain YouTube channels or on X and what have you, people with these views, and I do respect them, but I don't agree with them. I think, but I can see where the angst comes from, that we've had it bad for so many years. We've got teams like your Bradfords laughing at us, going above us, fans just giving it constant banter, and they're embarrassed, and we're watching the same performance play out on the pitch with no seeming improvement or willingness to change. We're seeing poor first halves in almost every game, nothing changing. We're seeing passing it about from the back with no movement, not really changing. So I completely get why people are frustrated and angry. And at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, which is for the club to do well. I just think sometimes you've got to step back and think, like you say, Trist, you know, actually, in terms of position, we're fifth in the league. We're still in the cups. We're with a rookie manager who's still trying to learn his way. Same with the coaches as well. Andy, like, you made a good point there. They've got to learn to work together properly. We've got a completely new team of players, pretty much, that have to gel together. And despite all the ups and downs, we're still fifth in the league with a massive part of the season to go. So whilst, you know, no one was more miserable and frustrated than me on Saturday, and we absolutely should be beating teams down at the bottom, especially at home, you know, we're still in this. And I think people have to be careful that we don't alienate the players again by jumping on every mistake, by mocking them, olaying, or just jeering at every, because that isn't going to help. It's not. That's going to. Players will pick up on that, and it then translates into the performances. And we saw it last season. It just became a toxic atmosphere. We don't want that again. We've got to try and stick with them and encourage them, because this team ain't going anywhere, and Lee Grant ain't going anywhere for the foreseeable.
Yeah, you're right, and we are well placed. And playing devil's advocate the other way, we're also precariously placed. Lose a couple of games, we could be 14th. And it was all, I was thinking about the Birmingham thing last season, and they took 8 or 10 games to start to knit it together. My worry is that we don't really like we're starting to knit it together yet. And I'm going to say yet. And the other thing that I think concerns fans is that, we've got another coach like we had with Duff. We bought a load of players to play the way he wants to play, and that's it. What Birmingham did have, what Wrexham did have, is they had a route to a change in a game. You wanged on Fletcher, you stuck McLean out on the left wing. They had a real clear route. So whereas we're relying on quality coming off the bench to turn a game, they had a real robust game plan that made teams have to defend and force errors. I think that would also be a worry for me, that the club have done some great work. They really have. But we've got another coach who wants to play a certain way. We bought an entire squad of players to just play that way. So Grant's got to get it going, hasn't he? I think that's one thing we're all in agreement with, is he's got to start to really get his feet now. And it's not beyond him, by the way, is it? The lad's clearly talented. He clearly regarding all that shit's not been made up, has it? He knew what he was doing. He did a great job at Ipswich. We've got to lose him, and as you know, Connor lives in Ipswich, and some of their fans are grumbling that they can't score a goal since he's gone. That he may have been the key part of their coaching setup. So the bloke's clearly got something, hasn't he? But he's, we just need to we just need really we've got some really tough games coming. We need 3 points Saturday. We need 3 points Saturday because of the games that are coming up. We may only get 3 or 4 out of the next 3 games after that. So, if we don't win Saturday and then only take 3 or 4 points out of that, suddenly you can find yourself mid-table. And you think, social media is noisy now. Imagine what it'd be like then.
I think as well though, Gaz, there's and again there's the other side of the coin that you roll and I appreciate this is something that we've not done in the last couple of games, but you roll 3 or 4 wins back and all of a sudden you're top of the league. We're 4 points behind Bradford at the top of the league. Yeah, they're currently on they're riding the crest of the wave, aren't they? They had a performance the first, whatever it was, 17, 20 minutes, whatever you said it was, the first 20 minutes against Town, where, I had a couple of mates that were in the Bradford end and they thought, shit, we're going to get battered here. They're absolutely playing us off the park. But you didn't hear that audibly within the stadium, did you? They want any, their game plan is bang the ball down the channels, let the 2 wing backs, run into those spaces, put the ball into the box, and someone, not knocking them for fear of getting Gazza's treatment from Bradford fans. I'm not knocking them. And Pointon's movement in the box was great against us. And I'm not knocking that, but at what point do people wise up to that as well and kind of go, okay, this is pretty basic stuff. What's happening here? How do we shut it down? And then all of a sudden they're not riding the crest of the wave, and I think that's probably the difference. The other teams that are up there, Stevenage, Lincoln, there's probably zero expectation in there. The teams that have sat in this league for donkey's years, and fair play to them. Someone's gone and people are doing a decent job there. They've got a handful of decent players in at either club. They've got kind of something's clicked for them and they're doing well, but there won't be any expectation there. There's massive expectation here, isn't there? And I think that's the thing, isn't it? And quite to the point, Grant has to start kind of finding his feet and finding quite as you said, Gaz, that Birmingham moment almost where, okay, now I've got to hit the ground running and I've got to bring these points in. And if it's by hook or by crook and he scrapes a few 3 points together, fine. But at least it'll change the the momentum and the tide within the stadium. Do you know what I mean?
Grant clearly backs him because if it had been Exeter that had come knocking with a manager's job for him at Ipswich, chances are he wouldn't have taken it. He's taking the Huddersfield job because it's a big job in League One. He's getting properly backed by a chairman who's happy to put his money where his mouth is and be given free rein to bring his own team in and run it as he sees fit. So, Lee Grant's got everything he wants. He clearly rates himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put himself in that position, would he?
Yeah.
So he's got to find it now, and he's got to unlock it. Because if we get to Christmas and we're 15, 12, I think he'll be a goner. Despite you saying what you're saying, Nick, I think come Christmas, if we aren't top 6, touching distance top 2, I think he could be a goner.
And Alexander from Bradford to come in, eh?
What could you imagine?
But they've got to be wary of that. That's another thing when you're a small club and you do well. Exactly the same as what happened to Wickham.
That were brave.
They'll be in. They'll know.
Exactly what happened to Wickham last season. As soon as you do well in this league, and inevitably Championship clubs will lose a manager, they'll come sniffing around. It's exactly the same for us. I guess if Grant did really well, obviously we're a bigger club, but these small clubs that do well, they lose the players and manager like no one's business come January, and this is what they've got to worry about. But do you think so, Gazza? I don't know, mate. I mean, if we're 15th, it's terrible, isn't it? By January, it's a disaster. But what's it gonna achieve? Who's gonna come from the outside looking at it? I mean, Kev Nagel, he'll have gone through 5 managers, permanent managers in the space of 3 years. Who's gonna come to that?
Somebody who gets paid £250,000 a year. I'm sure they can put their worries to one side for that.
Well, yeah, as he said, but again, we're starting from scratch. They've got to get to know the players. The players have to get used to their setup and their system, and we've only half a season to do it. I honestly think, even if we were mid-table, I would still stick with Grant and give him a couple of seasons to sit. Now, I don't know what financial implications are and what position we're in. I guess none of us will ever know that, really. That's down to Kevin Nagel and co to know that, and whether we actually have to get promoted. I hope it isn't the case that if we don't get promoted, we're going to be in the shit. But financially, if we can stand it, if we don't go up, we give them another season. If it's absolutely awful, then we'd have to think about it. But we can't just keep changing managers left, right, and centre. It's not going to achieve anything. But I know, Gaz, it's easier said than done if we're 15th and everyone's shouting off on X and the fans are booing in the stands. And he's quite reactive, Mr. Nagel, isn't he, to fan voices. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope it's not going to be like that, because I really think that we need to stick. He's chosen him now. Would he have been my first choice? No, but he's here. So we've got to back him. We've got to get behind him and see how he does. I mean, at least we've got an easy game anyway tomorrow to make up for it. Man City at home, big crowd. Suddenly, all these fans have come out of the woodwork again. It's funny isn't it? But expectations rock bottom. Yeah, I expect us to get absolutely turned over. I'm not going to spend loads of time on this, guys, because who knows what Man City team's going to turn up. But do you think this could be a chance maybe for some of these youngsters to have a run out? You don't want them to be absolutely annihilated, of course, but they did get them in that position. So do you think we're going to see some wholesale changes tomorrow?
Yep. He said that, hasn't he, in the preview. He said that the lads that have got us there deserve the chance to play in a game. So you're going to see Vost, you're going to see Asher. Guardiola has also said that he's considering playing the academy players. But well, that's what he said. And I wouldn't know a Man City academy player if he bit me on the backside. So I probably wouldn't know many Man City players, to be honest. They're not late for town, so I'm not really bothered about him. But it's one of his big whinges, isn't it? That these competitions that get in the way of his quest for world domination and trying to get 100% bloody possession stats on a football pitch. I think this is the ultimate game that the opposition plays 90. He plays a 90-minute game, and the opposition team actually never touches the ball. So, but he said that he said that he's going to be playing fringe players. You probably look at the bench, and the bench will be worth quite a sum of money. But I can't see their resident Leeds fan turning that up front for him. So I don't think I think he'll be having a nice feet up in his Viking pajamas at home. We'll finger whatever else he wears. So we'll see one or two. I think Stones might play for them. I think Aki might play. So that's two international centre halves that are going to be. You imagine Joe Turner coming up against them? They'd be like, "Oh, you lad." So yeah, whatever they've got absolute quality. He has said academy players. Now whether he delivers that, I don't know. But yeah,
he was complaining
can't have it both
on
ways.
Sunday, wasn't he? He was complaining on Sunday.
But fixture pile-ups and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll play your bloody kids then, and go out at competition, and that'll soon sort you out.
Although contrary to your popular belief, Andy, he actually played counter-attacking football on Sunday. So we might see Town dominate possession and City have to come and counter-attack Town.
Yeah. If we're passing it sideways and backwards tomorrow night and they're not scoring any goals, then we might be quite liking that. But hopefully we'll do better than Barnsley, because Barnsley are losing 4-0 to one man. Some fella called Diogo Gomez has scored 4 goals against them, and one of them that I've seen on Twitter is an absolute beauty. So,
5-0 now.
Is it 5-0? Has he scored 5th? Or
no, unfortunately not.
Oh, that's a shame. Isn't it?
Is that Brighton they're playing?
They're playing Brighton, yeah.
Brighton.
So I bet that your Pender boys are in the away end there, cheering on their team.
What's our predictions? Let's do some predictions for tomorrow. Trist, bit of fun this. No, it don't matter, does it? Let's be honest. It's been nice. It's just been a novelty to get this far in League Cup but what do you reckon?
I think a Dan Vost, Kenny Irons-esque winner, like Chelsea away all those years ago, and we win 1-0.
Trist has been drinking. Gaz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that one, Tristan. I have to be honest.
Neither am I.
I like looking. Who knows? A good old Duff man. Yeah, he's gonna get top 2. You know that, don't you?
He's not. He's not.
I don't know. I don't know. Penalties. Go to penalties. We'll win on pens. 1-1. Time to win on pens.
And there's a lot of positivity, guys. I like it. I was thinking 5-0, didn't I? Go on, Andy.
Where the hell has this come from? 5 minutes ago, we'd sacked him, and we were and now I think we're going to beat Man City.
League Cup final.
Yeah, well, fair dues. I'll have whatever you lads are on. I'll have some of that. I can't see anything other than a straightforward Man City win. So let's say 2-0, 3-0. It should be straightforward, you would think, but then football's a funny game, Saint, isn't it? So you never know, and we might get the Dan Vost screamer into top corner at 95th minute, and knee slide in front of the cowshed that's full of Man City fans. So
I'm saying 0-0, and then win on penalties from Bojan. Bojan scoring the winning penalty, just to shut Gaz up.
He's going to be in front of upper tier giving me that.
We've got it.
See your teeth from down in here.
Turn out of the way. Lights reflecting off your teeth. We can't see. You're like an extra. You're like an extra floodlight at the game.
Yeah.
Your cost down. If there's any City fans planning on sitting in upper tier, I'm going to lob you clean off if you cheer.
Yeah.
You go straight over the edge, mate. Let me tell you.
There's got to be a worldie, hasn't there? You know, we've had a Castledine worldie and a Shear scored a bit of a worldie, didn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Would you
there's
a
gotta be,
worldie? Worldies are Carabao Cups.
And it was the youth. So I'm telling you, it's written in the stars. Dan Vost.
Get your money on it.
There we go.
And then we have a slightly more say important. Game against Exeter away. I think this is a huge game, isn't it? Let's be honest, because if we lose this game, the pressure really starts to mount on Grant and the players, doesn't it? Exeter aren't a great side, with the greatest of respect. Not start particularly well. Yes, it's a long way to travel, which no one really wants to go all that way, and it's difficult in that respect. But I mean, we surely we have to go there and get a result. You look at the fixtures after that. There's 4 or 5 really tough ones there. We really need to get the 3 points, don't we?
Yeah.
No chance. I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going. So there's absolutely no chance of us winning.
Honestly, with Luton away, Bolton at home, Wickham away after that, we have to pick some points up and give ourselves a chance then of staying in touch with the top 2, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, Luton and Wickham are no great shakes this time round. So what we're worried about
Duffman's
there?
back at Wickham, innit? Duffman, you know what's going to happen there, mate. You know what's going to happen there.
We're going to get turned over at Wickham. I can fucking see it coming. I can see it coming. I think we've got it in it to beat Luton, by the way. I don't think that's beyond the wit of this team, and Bolton are blowing a bit hot and cold. But yeah, I think we've got to take the game to them on Saturday. You know, they've only won one in 5, I think. And I was looking out, they're like 17th. I think we're 18th in the league. So they were 18th in the away form table, we are, and they're about 19th in the home form table. So we're both equally terrible. So I honestly,
going to be a cracker, Andy.
What a decision that is that I've made to travel 500 miles for 2 teams in the 17th
Get an early goal and then try and control the game. Get a goal and then control the game. That's what I'd like us to do for once. Nice early finish, and that'd be a good one for me. But I think I'm kind of more enough to win, aren't they? Let's be honest. If they turn up.
Yes, turn up. Yeah.
I think you're quite right there, guys. I think it's important to try and give a good first half showing. Try and arrest some of the kind of concerns. Give a good first half showing. Sort out the away, form, and just generally even if it's not the most kind of well put together performance, if they just show a bit, I think that will just earn them a few favours. They lost last time out at home. They lost to Port Vale, which says a lot, doesn't it? So there will be expectation going there, and I think town fans will have that expectation despite our away form. But I think if the performance is the big thing here, and showing something and showing what they've got. Quite as I think Steve Brailford said, just give a decent first half. I think that's really important.
Yeah. What we mustn't do is something fucking stupid like let Exeter score it first 5 minutes, and then it's a mountain because they've got crowd right behind them, galvanises them. They'll sit deep, and we'll have to try and break them down. We can't let that happen. We've got to go out from the off, make a statement, get a goal in first 20 minutes, and control it.
But that's probably the reason why we played like we did on Saturday, because they are panicking about Barnsley, Blackpool, and Bradford. We're going at half time and we're out of the game. So I'm not sure we're gonna go out and give and wipe a team away in the first half, but at least show that there's that they're willing to play and that they're willing to to kind of do different stuff, not just kind of status quo.
They owe every one of those away fans a show after the last few away games. Every single one of them, especially travelling all that way. If they don't show up again, they don't deserve anyone to go and watch them. It's as simple as that.
600 tickets as well, I think, have been sold.
Yeah, it's good. Decent. Wow. Listeners, what do you think the score's going to be? Let's give some predictions for that. So I'll start with you, Andy, for this one.
1-0 Town.
Nice. Tristan?
Yeah, I'll take 1-0 Town.
Gaz?
I'm going to believe it or not, I'm going to make it an hat-trick of 1-0 wins for Town, yeah?
So I think Joe Taylor will miscontrol one on the halfway line and it'll fly into the top bins and he'll run away going, meant it!
Hope so.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
My brain says 2-2, but my heart says 2-0 Town. So I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'm a pessimistic bugger these days, you know, but it's the games we should win, we don't. And it's just fans travelling all that way, expect it to win. It's a perfect storm for disappointment and a draw. But come on, let's all be positive. I'll go 2-0 Town for the sake of our sanity. Kerr Brooks agrees 2-0 Town. The only thing left is just to touch on we saw Gulke United posted put a post on X about the sad passing of Alfie Firth. Now he's a young lad that went to watch Gulke United regularly with his dad. I think he was a Town fan. Andy, I think you know more about this than me, mate. So I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, yeah, and I think that's all we want to do really is that the Gulke, Alfie was a Town fan first and foremost, from what I understand, but went with his dad to go and watch. I'm filling up thinking about it, you know, go and watch a community club, you know, a real good club at Gulke. And what they're doing is on Saturday they're donating all the gate receipts to the family. So if with 600 tickets being told, but there'll be plenty of other Town fans knocking around wanting to fix a football. If you can and you feel able to, why not go and watch Gulke and put your money in the over the turnstiles, because that money will go direct to Alfie's family to deal with like the funeral arrangements and things like that. Town are aware. I don't know what Town are going to do about it, but I'm hopeful that they will do something that will at least mark. It's just absolutely tragic. He had a heart condition, poor lad, but you know they speak really highly of him. You know, lit the room up wherever he went. He was a great kid. So just if you want to donate to the family, you can do it via the just DM Gulke on Twitter, and they'll give you the details to send some money through. To if you can't make the game, then why not pay what you would have paid to turn up, and if you can't make it, just send your match entrance money through to Gulke, and I'm sure they would absolutely be proud as sponge to pass it on to the family. But it's just you know, we're all parents, aren't we, on here, and just the how Alfie's family are at the minute, just heart goes out to them. You know, it's all we can do is do the best that we can to support them and do the best to show that you know, Alfie made a difference wherever he went by the sounds of it. So let's see if we can make a difference to his family and just rest in peace, old lad.
Yeah, it's incomprehensible, isn't it? I think there was talk of maybe doing an applause as well at one of the games, and there's all sorts of ideas floating around as to what we can do. Hopefully we can sort something out, but there might be a way to donate online for people that can't get to the game. I'm not sure, so it might be worth just keeping an eye on social media and seeing what we can do. But yeah,
they're on Twitter, aren't they? Gulke United. I think it's at Gulke United on Twitter. They've put a few tweets out about it. I'm sure that if you slide into the DMs, I've had a conversation with Dale Marsden there. They will make some arrangements to do whatever they can for you to be able to help. But yeah, let's not walk past this one. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And I think that if we can do something as a club and as a community to help this family in their hour of need, that's what you'd hope. We are all about. Loads of messages from other clubs. Thackley, apparently, who were they playing on Saturday, all their players and all their committee members have decided that they are going to pay into the game as well, which I think is a really classy thing to do. So normally the committee men can come for free, but they're all going to pay their entrance fee, and I think that's just a lovely touch. So that's great work from Thackley. So let's see if we can do a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So finally, I think we're going to wrap it up there, guys. We've done enough there, an hour and a half. So thank you, everyone, for all your contributions, as always. It's been a really good conversation tonight. Obviously, not the result we wanted, but we've got a good game, I think, tomorrow to be able to get out there, no expectation and try and show what we can do against one of the best sides in the world. Probably, it has to be said. Although I'm sure it'll be a bunch of kids, but we might have half a chance. Then we'll see. But Andy Takes That Chance looking to reach 1,000 Patreon members. So if you're not already a member, go online and have a look. You'll get extra episodes, extra content. So do have a look at that and look out for Killer and Matt's preview show as well. But for now, guys, take care, everybody. Thanks so much for all your contributions as always. If you want to come on the show, just DM us. Come on. Like I keep saying it, but we want more people getting involved. Stephen Shepherd's already come on. He comes on quite a bit and he enjoys it. So it'd be great to have some of you guys on as well, chatting about town. But yeah, for now, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon, hopefully after some more positive results. Take care, guys. Bye for now, and as always, up the town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.